Quem que você acha que ganha entre o Jack Della Maddalena e o Islam?
O Maddalena, ele é um jogo muito complicado, porque ele é um cara que... Ele não vem pra te nocautear rápido, ele vem pra te finalizar, ele vem te magoando, né?
Aos poucos, né?
Aos poucos. Foi o que ele fez agora na luta contra o Bilal. Só que eu acho que o Islam vai se dar muito bem nessa categoria, né, mano? Agora vai estar muito mais forte, é um jogo que, tipo, ele gosta de agarrar e botar pra baixo. Eu acho que o Jack Maddalena fazia a mesma luta que ele fez, né? Agora contra o Bilal, batendo, movimentando, saindo, machucando, é uma luta. Mas se deixar o Islam agarrar e botar pra baixo, é o time.
How much do you think he walks around?
He's got to be 190-ish, in the 190 range. He's got to be. That's what he looks like to me.
I never saw him in person.
Yeah, he's thick. He's thick and big. I mean, he's not a small, he's not a 155-pound man.
I still think Islam's skill for skill is just so high level. For him to go out there and do what he did against Bilal was very impressive, made that Islam fight more interesting. If JDM can shut him down and throw those hands, but Islam's boxing is underrated. That dude is slick. His kickboxing, his timing, like he's a high level black belt in every aspect of MMA.
But I'm sure people are just going to assume that Islam will just take me down and submit me pretty quickly.
Do you think he'll be big enough for 170?
I think he just seems like a pretty big guy.
Yeah.
I think he'll be alright.
Yeah.
The fans' excitement is increasing for Islam Makhachev and Jack Della Maddalena. The UFC pros are also eager to see how Islam performs at 170 pounds. Former UFC champion Sean O'Malley predicted that Islam Makhachev versus Jack Della Maddalena would be a huge fight, though not quite as big as a potential matchup with Ilia Topuria. He praised Islam's dominant performance against Bilal Muhammad and said it made the Jack fight more interesting. O'Malley noted that if Jack could stop the takedowns and land his shots, it could be competitive, but he also pointed out that Islam's striking is underrated, calling him sharp and well-rounded.
Islam relinquish his belt and go up to 170. Got JDM taking on Islam Makhachev.
I still think Islam's skill for skill is just so high level. For him to go out there and do what he did against Bilal was very impressive, made that Islam fight more interesting. If JDM can shut him down and throw those hands, but Islam's boxing is underrated. That dude is slick. His kickboxing, his timing, like he's a high level black belt in every aspect of MMA.
Who gives him that?
Jack versus Islam, I think, is huge. Not as big as Ilia versus Islam, but who knows? Maybe they both win and Islam comes back down to 55 and the fight's even bigger.
Sean O'Malley also shared his thoughts on Islam Makhachev's move to welterweight, calling it an intriguing challenge. He mentioned hearing that Islam would be about the same size as Jack Della Maddalena, despite the jump from lightweight to welterweight being significant. While he acknowledged the size difference, he pointed out that Islam's skill level could make up for it. O'Malley said it would be interesting if Jack defended the takedowns and pressured Islam, but also noted that Islam's striking doesn't get enough credit and could be a key factor.
How do you think Islam does at welterweight?
Who knows? I heard he's not going to be any smaller than Jack come fight night. 55 to 70, that's a little bit different than 35 to 45, 45 to 55. But when your skill level's that high as Islam's is, it'll be interesting if he goes in there and tries to shoot on Jack. Jack stuffs him and gets in his face, but Islam's striking is so underrated. Islam could put the hands on Jack too.
Meanwhile, Tony Ferguson expressed confidence that Islam Makhachev would succeed at welterweight. He pointed out that Makhachev had already defended his lightweight title 4 times and consistently made weight, proving his dominance at 155. Ferguson felt that moving up was a smart move if Makhachev aimed to cement his legacy. However, he also suggested that Makhachev might follow in Khabib's footsteps by avoiding certain challenges.
I mean, Makhachev fought how many times at 55?
He defended it 4 times.
That's much more, you know what I mean? And he made weight, you know what I mean? So I mean, when it goes into it and you have that, I think that's a smart move. When you go up, you're gonna try to build legacy. You're gonna do certain things like that, and he's gonna run like his cousin.
Tony Ferguson further shared his thoughts on how Islam Makhachev might fare against Jack Della Maddalena for the welterweight title. He emphasized the importance of Makhachev maintaining a natural weight closer to 170, noting that extreme weight cuts can take a toll on the body. Reflecting on his own difficult cut in Dubai, Ferguson cautioned that such cuts can be risky without proper oversight. He also praised Makhachev as a faster and more technical grappler than Khabib, and expressed confidence that he would perform well at welterweight.
You also fought at 170. So how do you think Islam will do when he fights JDM for that 170 belt?
Okay, so the best advice is to be able to walk around with that weight. The big cut going to 155 is bad. I mean, if you're able to, I mean, because even mine when I went to Dubai, like I cut from 70 something to like 64 and a half. I overdid it, wasn't paying attention. I should have took a fucking IV. I was sick of shit. If you're not having somebody monitor your weight and you're doing that and you're fluctuating, you're going to develop like a harder time to keep that weight and like put more weight on after it. But Makhachev's, I'm gonna tell you, somebody was telling me, who do you think's a better wrestler? Was it Makhachev or was it Khabib? And I think Makhachev is a better grappler, honestly. I think he's a little bit faster. I think with Khabib, I think he's just a little bit more, not timid of the freestyle that Makhachev presents, but I think Makhachev, he's not gonna do so bad at 170. I think he'll be all right.
UFC legend Daniel Cormier also shared his thoughts and said that if Islam Makhachev captured the welterweight title, it would elevate his legacy and place him even higher among MMA's all-time greats. Cormier already ranks Makhachev as one of the best, but believes becoming a two-division champion would firmly cement that status. He also noted that a fight between Makhachev and Belal Muhammad is unlikely, as both have publicly refused to face each other because of their close friendship.
Islam, if he is able to do this, would further cement himself as one of the greatest fighters of all time. He really would. He would cement himself as one of the greatest of all time. I think he's already one of the greatest of all time. But by going up to 170, one of the things that he would not do was fight Belal Muhammad. And they were very clear about him and Belal Muhammad about not wanting to fight each other.
Daniel Cormier called the potential Jack Della Maddalena versus Islam Makhachev fight high stakes and exciting. He said Jack's recent form makes it more interesting since Islam hasn't been tested at welterweight. Cormier questioned if Islam could match Jack's size, noting Islam had slimmed down recently. He also doubted if Islam would have enough time to gain weight and adjust to the new division.
It's a fantastic fight. It's a big-time fight. And if Jack Della looks the way he did last weekend, it's very, very intriguing fight. Because we've never seen Islam Makhachev fight up at 170 pounds. We've never seen it. We've never seen him have to compete up 15 more pounds. Yes, he is a big dude. But in terms of full-on stature, is he big as Jack Della Maddalena is? And also, if he thought he may fight International Fight Week, how small had he gotten? And how much time does he have to put the weight back on the right way before he moves up to 170.
Furthermore, Demetrius Johnson and MMA Guru both predicted Islam Makhachev would prevail. They expected him to dominate the fight through takedowns and knees. Although Ilia Topuria might defend some attacks, they believe Makhachev's relentless pressure would wear him down, potentially ending the fight with a strong body shot.
Who you got? Ilia Topuria, Islam.
I've got Makhachev.
I got Makhachev as well.
And I've got Makhachev second round TKO with a knee in the
Oh, yeah, you going bad rounds.
Yeah, I think he'll shoot a couple takedowns. Ilya will stuff it. Ilya will catch him a few times and people will go ooh and ah. And then when they clash again, I think Makhachev will go grab him. Ilya will think, oh, he's shooting again. Tie clinch, bang, body, knee to the head. Ilya's all of a sudden stumble, downhill from there. I think he beats Oliveira with a body shot, though.
On the contrary, Navajo Sterling predicted that Jack Della Maddalena would dominate Islam Makhachev in his first welterweight title defense. He believed JDM's size and power would be too much for Islam, making it difficult for him to rely on wrestling that worked at lightweight. Sterling also said that if JDM wins, any hype around a potential Islam versus Topuria fight would disappear. In his view, Islam was headed for a tough night.
You picked JDM to win. Now he's got a big challenge in his first title defense against Islam. Do you think he's got what it takes to beat an Islam Makhachev in his first defense?
People are going to say it's a wild take, but I reckon JDM smokes Islam. Shins him so bad. It's going to be so bad that the Topuria Islam thing will just be gone.
So you think Islam's wrestling won't be a threat to JDM just because he's a lot bigger?
He's a lot bigger, and like when you watch JDM, like you put him on the end of mid-range, he's just going to throw. That's hard to like shoot in on. He's not going to be able to just abuse his size against him either. I think Islam's in for a rude awakening.
Henry Cejudo also shared his thoughts and predicted that Islam Makhachev would defeat Jack Della Maddalena and capture a second UFC title, calling it the natural progression for his legacy. In contrast, Kamaru Usman backed Jack, highlighting his calmness under pressure and confidence in his ability to defend the welterweight belt. Both believed the matchup would likely take place in October in Abu Dhabi, putting any potential fight between Islam and Ilia Topuria on hold for the time being.
I think Islam Makhachev is going to beat him. I think he's going to become the 11th double champ in UFC history.
Islam tweeted, keep it shiny, keep it nice for me. JDM, I mean, it was kind of like the perfect comeback. He was just like, yeah, come get it.
Keep my belt clean. Okay, so the talking has begun, dude. That fight is set. That fight's going to take place in October, Abu Dhabi. I think we all know that. We're no longer going to get Ilya versus Islam Makhachev just now, but we are going to get a fight at 155. That's going to be Charles Oliveira, Ilia Topuria, International Fight Week.
Welterweight fighter Ian Gary believes the matchup between Jack Della Maddalena and Islam Makhachev is tough to call. He praised Islam as a well-rounded fighter, but pointed out that moving up 15 pounds to welterweight could make a difference. Gary highlighted the size difference between Jack and Volkanovski, who still gave Islam a tough fight. He thinks Jack's boxing and takedown defense could be key, though Islam remains a strong favorite due to his elite skills.
Who do you think wins, Jack or Islam?
It's such a tough one to talk about. Islam is phenomenal. He's good everywhere. Size matters. When you're talking about an extra 15 pounds, when you look at the size of Volkanovski versus Jack Della Maddalena, there's a big size discrepancy. And Volk gave him a good fight. And then Dustin Poirier, it wasn't absolutely completely dominant by Islam. It was a tough fight. Size is going to play a huge part. Even on the ground, I feel like Jack could get it done with just some clean boxing and good takedown defense. But I can absolutely see Islam coming in and doing what Islam does and going out there and just looks like the phenomenal mixed martial artist he is.
Moreover, Islam Makhachev's coach, Javier Mendez, expressed strong confidence in Islam's ability to beat Jack Della Maddalena. He said Islam was eager for the fight and capable of both taking Jack down and outstriking him. Mendez believed Islam would succeed, where Belal Muhammad didn't, always sticking to his game plan. He added that Islam wouldn't be small at welterweight and would be a tough opponent. Mendez noted that Jack had never faced anyone like Islam, so if the fight happened, fans could expect an incredible battle.
I just know Islam wants this one, and he can do it all. Can he take Jack down? Absolutely, he can take him down. Can he outstrike Jack? Absolutely, he can outstrike him. It may be a better deal to do what Belal should have done and what he didn't do, and that's something I know that Islam will do because he's never not listened to us. And also, the weight, Islam won't be a small guy. He'll be a decent welterweight. Islam is a whole different animal than the Jack's ever been involved with. So if that fight does materialize, we're going to see a hell of a fight.
Javier Mendez made it clear that Jack Della Maddalena would not be underestimated by their team. He said thinking Jack was an easy opponent would be foolish, especially after watching Jack's tough fight with Belal Muhammad. Mendez praised Belal's resilience and noted how both fighters endured heavy strikes. He emphasized that their coaching staff, including Khabib Nurmagomedov and other experts, fully understood the challenge Jack presented and were preparing accordingly.
Coaches think Jack is easier. We're stupid. We are very stupid. Then we didn't watch the Belal fight because Belal can take a hell of a shot. He can take a hell of a shot, and he took him. And he gave him two. Belal gave him two. So it was a war. That fight was a war. And you know what? For us to think it's an easy fight for us, you know, what kind of idiot coaches are we? Habib's not an idiot, and neither am I. And neither is Magomed, neither is Saif Safullah and Muhammad, the other coaches that they work with Islam. We're not stupid.
Javier Mendez highlighted that Jack Della Maddalena is not only bigger than Islam Makhachev, but also very dangerous due to his well-rounded striking. While he acknowledged Ilia Topuria has the best boxing, Mendez praised Jack's skill in mixing powerful kicks to the head, body, and legs. He stressed the matchup would be tough, saying any dominance by Islam would require perfect preparation or Jack having an off night. Mendez saw it as a high-level fight with no room for underestimating the opponent.
You know what we're dealing with. We're dealing with a much bigger guy and just as dangerous, if not more dangerous in different variations. Not boxing, because I think Topuria's got the best boxing in the business. I still believe that, but Jack is well versed in the kicking and the arsenal, how he mixes it up. He's really good at head and body, leg, everything. He's really, really good at that. So we have our hands cut out for us. It's not an easy fight at all. If Islam, by some miracle of a chance, makes that fight to be like slam dunk, it's because we were properly prepared, or Jack wasn't as prepared, or Jack was injured, or Jack just got caught. But it's gonna be one of those fights. It's not easy. No way in hell is that fight gonna be easy. Very tough fight.
Former English MMA fighter Dan Hardy described the Makhachev versus Jack Della Maddalena fight as one of the best super fights happening right now. He expressed excitement about Islam moving up to welterweight to face Jack, ranking it just behind John Jones versus Tom Aspinall. Hardy pointed out that Makhachev doesn't want to give up his lightweight title despite moving up, but questioned whether the UFC would allow it given their recent stance against double champions.
I thought he was very, very impressive. You know, it would be awesome to see Makhachev move up and fight him. You know, I did see that Makhachev said he's not gonna relinquish his lightweight belt. So I don't know how that's gonna fly with the UFC, because I think they're putting a stop on double champs now, aren't they? But it would be a fight I would love to see. You know, that's probably one of the best super fights you could make right now, aside from, you know, obviously John Jones against Tom Aspinall, which is the blockbuster.
Dan Hardy expressed doubt that Islam Makhachev could defeat Jack Della Maddalena at welterweight and questioned how long Jack would hold the title. While he praised Islam's dominance at lightweight, Hardy didn't believe Makhachev would have the same level of success after moving up.
I think Della Maddalena's got a bright future. I don't know whether he's going to hold the belt or, you know, he's going to lose it to another one of the top contenders and then pick it back up again. I don't think he's going to lose it to Makhachev, though. I think Makhachev holds the lightweight belt against anybody in the world, you know, on any day, you know, including Ilia Topuria. I don't think if he moved up, he would have much success against Makhachev.
Dan Hardy believes that if Islam Makhachev captures the welterweight title, it will solidify his legacy as one of the greatest fighters ever. He already considers Islam the current pound-for-pound best and sees the welterweight division as wide open, making it the perfect moment for Makhachev to move up and make history.
If Islam goes up to welterweight and wins that second belt, what do you think that does for him in terms of his legacy? Surely that just puts him on the Mount Rushmore, right, of MMA?
I mean, it does for me. He's pound for pound best right now anyway, in my mind. It would be very, very impressive. You know, he is the kind of fighter that can definitely make that transition. And honestly, I do feel like the welterweight division is open right now for someone to come in and you know, cause an upset. There's been times in the past where it would have been harder for someone to come up from another weight class and do that, but now seems like it's primed. It's a little bit unsettled. The belt's kind of moving around a bit.
Former UFC champion Robert Whittaker shared his thoughts on Islam Makhachev's move to welterweight, suggesting the change might enhance his performance. He pointed out that the cut to 155 had been tough for Islam and believed his strength could translate well to 170. Whittaker compared the situation to Ilia Topuria possibly moving up in weight and called it the $1 million question, acknowledging the excitement around seeing how Makhachev performs in a bigger division.
Maybe it's I guess that's the $1 million question. That's the question everybody's asking, and that's kind of the question. It's the same situation as Topuria as well. How good is Topuria? But what's he going to look like up weight division? Same with Islam. By all reports, though, the weight cut was really hard for him, like really, really hard. He's super strong for that weight division, which, you know, must translate well to moving up, making it a little bit easy cut. Maybe he gets a little bigger. It's yeah, I'm very that's the $1 million question. Everybody's asking the same thing.
Robert Whittaker acknowledged the uncertainty that comes with moving up to welterweight, saying it's difficult to predict how Islam Makhachev will adapt. He explained that the physical and tactical challenges can be very different, making the transition unpredictable. Despite this, Whittaker expressed strong confidence in Makhachev's skills, stating that Islam can do everything Belal Muhammad does, but at an even higher level.
Definitely, but like I said, it is hard to try to get like an accurate gauge on what it's going to look like, not knowing how Islam is going to look when he moves up. Okay, it's always the question everybody asks when anybody is moving up a weight division or down a weight division. Okay, there's so many unknowns involved. But saying that, I think that Islam can do everything that Belal does, but way better. Okay, way better.
Meanwhile, welterweight fighter Stephen Thompson believes Islam Makhachev's move to 170 pounds will present new challenges because of the size and strength in the division. He noted that many welterweights cut from over 205 pounds, so despite Islam's natural strength, he might face a physical disadvantage. While Jack Della Maddalena may be a bit taller, Thompson stressed that raw power is what truly counts at welterweight. He praised Islam's grappling, but pointed out that Jack has already faced tough wrestlers like Belal Muhammad.
I mean, when you're going up to the welterweight division, those are some big boys. And I know Islam Makhachev walks around fairly heavy, but a lot of these 170s, they walk around real heavy. I'm talking about, you know, over 205, 210 to 215. Some of the guys that I've faced would walk around at that weight. I mean, I think like the height, I think they might be the same height. I think JDM might be a little taller, but when it comes to those guys and their strength, Islam, I think, is going to have a tough time. Now, do I think he could get it done? Yes. I think he's that good of a grappler. But like I said, JDM has faced some of the best welterweight grapplers and wrestlers in the division. Belal being one of them. I think it's going to be a tough night for him. I would like to see Islam fight Topuria. That's just me. I would love to see that fight happen. But if he comes up, we'll see what the UFC gets behind. And we all know you got to convince the UFC to make it happen. And you do that first by getting on Twitter, shouting it out, and get people talking about it. And that's what Islam did. So we'll see if that fight happens with JDM.
So this is all we have from today's video, and hopefully you enjoyed it. Share your thoughts and predictions about this fight in the comments section, and subscribe to our channel to get more updates about this highly anticipated encounter.